Welcome everyone. We're back at the Manufacturers Cup in the Lexus. We're at an oval track this time. Blue Moon Bay. Just 25 laps and we qualified 6th. We're on the medium compound. There's 2 compounds available, medium and hard. We qualified high enough that taking the mediums was actually, I guess, the best plan for me. I only had 2 opportunities to race this race. I had started really late, and this was my second attempt. The first attempt was botched badly. I think I finished 10th after dropping all the way to the back, which sounds good, but I qualified 4th. So I wasn't happy, so I did it again, and this is the result of that re-qualification and re-race, re-entry. There are 5 sessions held each round, and it takes the session you did last. So if I did a session and I finished 3rd, and then I did another session and I finished 5th, after that, it would take the 5th place result and give me those points towards the championship. Setting a purple sector for sector 1, which isn't bad, but then Tillin of Dawn comes around on the inside of corner 2. The trickiest corner on this track is corner 3, I feel. You don't want to slow down a lot, but you do have to slow down. And then you want to get on the power as early as possible. And you don't want to just slam your foot to the floor. Anyone who thinks that racing is slamming your foot to the floor, that's improper racing technique. And that has to do with car balance. But corner 1, it may seem like it's a sharp corner after straight. That must be really hard. It's actually not as hard as corner 3. Because corner 3, you don't slow down near as much as corner 1. So the line becomes a much more precise because it's a higher speed. Like I want to actually be above 160, and I drop down to 152, and that's just, well, that could be the medium compound, or no, I'm on the medium compound. I'm on the faster tire, so absolutely I should be above 162 on that corner, and I just couldn't land it in this race. But I kept up with everyone, and that's because of the nature of oval track racing. Oval track racing is all about the draft, which is what you're seeing me do right here. I'm staying right behind him. I'm allowing him to pull me through the air. 5th place is doing... No, I'm in 5th. 6th place is doing the same thing to me. He's staying right behind me in what we call the dirty air. But there's also... The dirty air is also less of it, because the front car breaks apart that air for you. You have less air to challenge through. Now, Tillin is very defensive, aggressively defensive racing, so he's trying to keep himself in front of the person behind him. We call that racing with your mirrors. You do want to use your mirrors, you want to know where somebody is, but you don't want to use it to aggressively block people behind you. It leads to bad positioning, and like I said, racing is always about positioning. You always want to be in the right position at the right time. And in oval track racing, the best position to be in is 2nd place for most of the race. I'd say 98% of the race you want to be in 2nd place, if you can. You want to be right behind first and let him part the air for you and bump draft him and keep him out in front of you as much as possible until the last minute. And then you cut into the inside, get in front of him, and finish the race first. That's just the nature of oval racing. But Tillin of Dawn doesn't seem to get that. He's not bump drafting. He's actually slow through that corner, and I'm surrounded by Hondas. The NSXs surround me. I'm in a Honda Accord sandwich. Honda NSX sandwich, sorry, not Accord. What the heck am I thinking? Alright, coming into lap number 7, my tires are starting to go. If you look at the diagram on the bottom left next to the time, the red indicates how badly worn the tire is. About halfway down, those tires will have absolutely no grip. So I am chasing these people down as best I can. We don't have to worry about fuel in this race. If there's more than enough fuel to finish 25 laps without having to refuel. I really screwed up the corner there. I got lucky there, actually. If P&W Giddy had not hit me, I would have lost a lot more time. A lot more time. But thankfully he hit me. I didn't get a penalty. He did. And then he hits me again because he thinks... I think he thought I did that on purpose when I didn't. I bumped the wall and then another guy slammed me into the wall, which slowed me down a ton. And he happened to be my savior and keep me up into a high position in 6th. But I mean, that sucks. I feel bad for him because he shouldn't have. It shouldn't have done that, but it did. And anyway. That's one of the great things and bad things about oval track racing, especially in a simulator. Because, one, in a sim, it's easy to quit. It's very easy to quit. You just turn your system off and you're done. In real life, you can't do that. You're on the track in real life, you can't just quit. You've got to get yourself around to the pit lane, and then you got to deal with your emotional state. You got to deal with people around you, thinking you're just a quitter, which adds a little bit of peer pressure, and then you're less likely to quit. I mean, also on here, there is no danger to your life on a simulator. So, a lot of people who don't take the simulation seriously end up taking bigger and stupider risks for the sake of getting a higher position. But the simulation was built to simulate real life. So I try to race my car the same way in the simulator as I would in the same way as I would in real life. And that sentence came out kind of funny, and I apologize, but I'm not a commentator. I really am not a commentator. I'm going to just do my best, and I'm more focused on being a good racing car driver. So practicing, constantly out, and I decided to take a pit on lap number 10 because my tires are pretty much done. And I switched to the hard compound because it's required to use the hard compound in this race. But several others started on the hard compound, which I think I should have as well, and then switched to the soft compound for the end of the race. But, I went with this strategy, and my job is to make that strategy work now. So I come out in 12th. I pitted 1 lap earlier than most people. All those people in front of me still have to pit. So if I can get the draft, and I can keep up with other people, I can gain a lot of positions. Turn number 3 is the hardest corner. Threading that needle to get it just right and keeping your speed up like that. That was, I think, my best overall attempt at that corner. The rest of it is, not as good. Coming up on the inside I slow down a tiny bit so I don't hit him, and then I go and sneak behind him to get some draft, and then I want to just stay to the inside. He's gonna cut in front of me. Seagate is a company that produces modems. So that's the modem company guy. And those guys go dive into the pit. And I'm up to 9th. And the 8th place GTR is in a Lexus. Even though his name is GTR. I think that's one of the things I find a little bit funny on this game as well, or the simulation, is people naming themselves after cars they like, but they aren't racing that car. And that's just a little bit of a chuckle for me. But this is my main rival, and if you don't know how this works, it's a manufacturer series What that means is all the people in the Lexus car get compared to all the other people in the Lexus car, and then all the people in the Ford car and all the people in the, every single manufacturer. You're basically racing against other people in that same brand. And then during the semifinals and the finals, then they compare the final totals of each manufacturer, and the one on top wins the overall championship, which is fantastic and incredible and difficult, because one, you have to choose a brand that in this particular version of the game is just a tiny bit better than everyone else at most of the tracks. The way they balance the power of the cars is some cars are better on curvier, windier tracks, and some cars are better on more straight tracks. And Lexus, the car I chose, is a good mid-ranger, so it's not bad at anything, but it's not exceptionally good at anything either. And as you can see, my tire strategy also has worked out for me as I'm racing, and for 4th place, and it's against Tillin of Dawn. The guy in 3rd, One Red Lad, he goes into the pits on lap 16, and he's changing to the medium tire, but he drops way down the order because even though the pit stop isn't very long, the track is not long either. It's a 45-second lap time, 44-second lap time. Even if you're only in the pits for a minute, that's everyone getting past you. So I don't think his pit strategy worked for him. Where now I'm in 3rd place and I'm racing against Tillin of Dawn for 4th, and that's because I started on the medium tire and I pit at lap 10 or lap 11, and everyone else pit at lap 12, which gave me that. And also I didn't hit anyone and make any errors. So that's basically positioning in a nutshell, is don't get yourself a penalty and don't mess up the lap. Just try and stay as clean as possible. Even if your ultimate pace is on this track is 41 seconds, if you can do a solid 43 through the entire race, and a guy does a 41 second and then can't replicate that, does 46, 43, 48, 44, you will beat him eventually, because he's not consistent. And consistency is king in motorsport. Once you're consistent, once you're doing 43, 43, 43, 43, then you can make adjustments and find extra lap time somewhere, because you already know the track well enough to do a consistent 43 lap time. But this is oval track, so a lot of your lap time is going to be down to the bump draft. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of oval racing, but this was a good race. Slowing way too slow on that corner. Like I said, that corner is actually a 160 mile per hour corner, but I'm also on the hard compound, so maybe that's because of the hard compound, I don't know. On lap 19, and this is where the race kind of, Tillin us settled in. He's doing the bump draft, he's doing a good thing, he's keep getting us closer to 1st and 2nd, who are absolutely destroying everyone. And I'd like to find out how they did that. I'm sure it's because they're just faster and use the right tires and pit at the right time. Like I said, I only have 2 opportunities, so I didn't get much practice, and I had to take this one and make it work for me. So, the championship points, I'm a B rated, and the ratings go A+, A, B, C, D, and E. E is for brand new players, never been in a race before, just starting out. and then you go from there upwards. So E goes to D, D goes to C, so on and so forth. I'm a B-rated racer right now. I have been A-ranked. I have been an A-ranked player, and I've always been just on the cusp, like just below and or just above, and I keep bouncing back and forth because I haven't broken high enough into the A's to keep it after a bad race. But I'm working my way back into the A's. But the higher your ranking, the higher the ranking pool of people you'll be grouped against in a race, and then you take the average ranking of all the racers in your race, and that is put through an algorithm and determines how many points that race is worth. And that's a long explanation, but basically how many points you can earn in your race is based on the ranking of everyone in your race and where you finish. So if I finish first in this race, I could have gotten 127 points. If I finish fourth in this race, I could get 72 points. But if we were all of us higher ranked, like ranked A, every single one of us ranked A, which wasn't the case, but if everyone in this race were ranked A, this race would be worth more like 250 points for first place and 180 points for third place, and so on and so forth. The higher your ranking, the more points the race is worth. So it's absolute necessity to get your ranking up. And how do you do that? Race clean. Get a clean race. Don't touch people. Don't get incident. Don't get a penalty. Stay clean, and your rating will go up, unless you're finishing last. You still need to finish well in the race as well. You need to be quick and consistent, but more important, be clean. Besides that, if you're clean and you get the line just right, learn where you can cut the corner, learn how to straighten the corner so you can carry as much speed as possible. And I tapped the wall there, which is not a good line. You don't want to tap the wall. He tried to push me into the pits on that lap, and that's something that can happen in a sim. If you did that in real life, if you tried to push somebody else into the pit lane, you'd be immediately banned from racing in that series ever again. You don't see that happen in real life. It just isn't. It doesn't work. But in a simulator, like I said, there's no risk to your life, so you see stuff like that. I'm hoping that I can get my ranking up high enough that I don't have to ever see Tillin of Dawn again because of that, because he's trying to push me into a position that's bad for me and good for him, instead of actually just beating me with good strategy. And I mess up there too, trying to stay on his tail. I wasn't watching the road as much as I was watching him. I got a little bit of tunnel vision, and he straightened out, and I straightened out too late, and I tapped the wall a little bit, but I still have the draft, so I'm able to keep up with him, because in the draft your car doesn't have to work as hard. So he's actually very slow when he doesn't have the draft, but he's very fast when he does. And that's a lot of cars are like that, actually. In this, the draft is very strong in this simulation. And we're coming around for the final lap, and we're going to finish fourth, which will get us those 72 points I was talking about. So I will put up a video showing the ranking, and we can discuss more from there. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a good night.